everybody. Welcome to the Dotted Line podcast. I'm Emily.
And I am Dom.
We are in week two of our podcast. We're doing songs 490 to 481. We don't have to introduce ourselves too much this time. It should be a little bit of a shorter podcast. But I do want to take an opportunity to check in with you, Dom. How was your week?
My week was decent. I will say. I think was this the first full week I had? Yeah, I think this was actually like the first full week I had since actually in the last few weeks. Because the holidays just passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I was back in the office full time for
Mm-hmm.
this week, and I'm a little tired. Just kind of getting back into the swing of being in the office every single day. And then for this week, it was actually a little bit harder for me to listen to some of the albums because just had like a lot of stuff going on. Also during the week, one of my really good friends at work, they are moving. So February is like, and sometime in February is like their last time. So we had like kind of
Oh.
like a going out thing for them and some drinks and whatnot and got together.
Mm-hmm.
But then that kind of like I had to get catch up on like a lot of the albums this
Mm-hmm.
week. But outside of that, it was an okay week. I didn't go to the gym as much as I liked. That's another thing. I love the
Mm-hmm.
gym. I post about it on my story a lot. Hopefully, maybe some of these songs can be added to my gym playlist. Um, None have yet, but that's about it. But
Really?
anyway,
Not done this week? You didn't find anything? Okay, we'll talk about it later.
nothing.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, not right now. But anyway, how was your week?
It was okay. I mean, nothing. We didn't really have a full week. My boss just came back from vacation, but then he's going to be going on another vacation. He went on another vacation. He left on Thursday. So, when boss is out of town, we just kind of. I mean, it's been slow anyways for my field. So, it's been kind of chill. I was able to listen to everything pretty okay, nicely. I did go to the gym. Yesterday, I did get to see. I hung out with a couple of my best friends from college. My best friend from college, she lives in the East Coast now. She came back to visit, do something with her sister. So she came out to LA. And this is, like in undergrad, this is the people that we were always drinking with. And so we met up with our other friend who also lives in LA, who like taught us everything she knew when we were in college, like how to get drinks from guys, like that type of friend. She was
Yeah.
kind of like our little role model in that sense, or at least mine. To become more confident, just crazy, just doing a bunch of stuff. And yeah, so she's a mom now. Actually, her kid's about a year old now. We thought out of the three of us, I would be the first to have a kid. I'm probably going to be the last to have the kid now, to have a child. If I have kids, I'll probably be last. But yeah, she has a child now, and it's funny because I would always think that when she become a parent, you become super responsible and like put together and grown and all that. And it's like, no, she's the same, even more so. And her kid just puts up with the bullshit. Like she was like making faces to the kid and make faces to him, and he was like, I was like, oh my god, he's like the chillest baby ever. Like I'm like,
Oh.
but he is
No,
really
when you
funny.
when you posted him on your story yesterday, I was like, "Oh, he's so cute."
Yeah,
And it's
he's
like
so
multiple
cute.
pictures of like the photo booth. It was so
Yeah,
cute.
yeah. All of us are like, yeah, and then the baby just like
Yeah.
he was actually smiles a lot. Like it's when the camera is on where he kind of just like turned regular face. But yeah, it's nice to see like we're all. I don't know, we're getting old now. Like we are now going out and having drinks and bringing along a child. It'll be fun when
Yes.
when me and my other best friend when we decide to go bring when we decide if we have kids. It's like all right. Other than that, nothing else too crazy. Just
Yeah. Well, luckily we had some at least decent weeks, and I hope that it continues for 2024 because we
yeah.
have to finish this. So we cannot have anything catastrophic happen to us, knock on wood, because we have a
I
project to
hope
finish.
not. Us on like videotaping, just like tears. Be like, we gotta get this done.
Hey guys, welcome to the
It's SOS week, SZA. You're like,
I'll
you
be like,
know.
hey guys, another failed situation flip. No, kidding,
Oh no.
guys. I'm mentally stable and healthy.
I think
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both are for now. I haven't heard anything crazy from you yet, and I've been
Oh
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
mind you, it is only the second week of the year, so
Started strong.
we'll
No
see. We'll
worries.
see.
No
We'll see.
worries. So, go ahead, go ahead.
Agenda. Uh, two songs.
First thing that came in my head was Girls Like You by the Naked and Famous. It's kind of an electronic song, indie electronic that came out when I was in college. That was one of my favorite songs back then. Still is. When it comes on, I still like it. So, nothing super spectacular backstory about that. I just really liked it. And then the other song actually kind of relates, I guess, to this week because we have the Stooges. Pretty Vacant by the Sex Pistols, who's a punk rock band. But that was probably one of my first introductions to punk where I said, oh, I kind of like this. It's very chaotic. You would think that for me, who's very anxious, I wouldn't get drawn to it, but it's possible. I was just younger and I was more open to all that stuff. How about you, Dom?
I'm going to say the Superstar Interlude by Usher on Confessions.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's a total curveball.
I
Ooh.
know, I know. And then oh my god, why can't I think of it right now? It's a Paramore song.
Hmm.
Fake Happy by
Make
Paramore.
happy.
It's like a newer,
Which
it's
one
like
is that?
on their like more newer album. It's on After Laughter. It came out
I
in
think
2017.
yes,
The pink the
we
pink
were
album.
already I do remember that one, yes. I love
And
Paramore though. They're great.
yeah, so really, really love that. But I know I love how you're like, Usher. Yeah, I know. The curveball.
Yeah.
For
I was gonna
real.
say, side note, Usher, the Confessions album. I think it's one of the first albums I've ever listened full through, and I always listen to it full through. It was like the one first CDs. And I actually really like that album.
Yeah, and then he's performing at the Super Bowl this year. I keep forgetting
Yeah,
that
I
he's
forgot to
performing.
see.
I know. I recently just forgot too until
Yeah.
I think Apple Music did a like a commercial for it. You know how
Mm.
like they always do
Mm-hmm.
before the Super Bowl happens, and
Mm-hmm.
I just saw it and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that he is performing." And there's someone I follow on Twitter. She was like, "Oh yeah, my man Usher performing. How much them Super Bowl tickets?" Someone said, "Did you sell your house recently?" And she's like, "Wait, hold on." She said the big bowl game. I said, "It's not a bowl game, man. Like sports ball." She's like,
Sports ball.
the big game is that expensive?" And they're like, "Nosebleeds are $15,000." Like I don't think people understand how expensive
The
it
big
is
bowl.
to go
I didn't
see
know it was that expensive for the
Super
Super
Bowl
Bowl.
games. Yeah, it's been like that for
Thought maybe like 500
years.
bucks.
No, it's been like that for years now. Like if
Hmm.
you're going to the Super Bowl, you are a part of the 1% or you know
Ah,
someone who knows someone and that's how you're getting in. It's kind of almost like college, like the college football championship. Like those
mm,
tickets are, but that's like a little bit different because sometimes the school, like whatever school's playing, they have like a select
student
amount of
section.
tickets, like for the students.
Mm-hmm.
But for this, no, it's gonna cost
Yeah.
you a pretty penny.
Hmm.
So,
Top.
like Usher, and he out of all the male singers right now, I feel
Oh,
like
he's
he's
still
still
good.
kind of like at the top. He can still sing, he can still dance. His
Oh yeah.
residency, I you know what, I kind of forgot about him, honestly, because I just
Until
feel like I never really was like, "Oh my god, I really need to listen to Usher right now." But
hmm
his residency, I feel like has gained him not gained him any popularity that he didn't have, but it's put him
back.
back in like a really big public light than what maybe it would have had been like 4 or 5 years ago, in my opinion. And
And
like that residency I heard is so good. Someone I know said that they're like love Beyonce down, but they said that they thought that the residency show was better than the Renaissance tour. And I was like, wow. I want to get
wow,
my mom tickets because she really loves Usher too. But they're like the Super Bowl tickets. They are expensive. And mind you,
it's
it's the
Usher.
residency. It's like
Yeah.
$800 for like the top of the orchestra. So
Huh.
I was like, I don't have that type of money for you, mommy. Sorry.
It's interesting. Huh. I didn't know that.
But no,
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like
kind of wish I went to the residency. Same thing as like how Britney was like. Usher, like I said, Usher was a big deal growing up, and like I would watch him because it's Usher. I'm gonna go add some of his stuff soon. Okay, we are off
Yeah.
topic. Let's go back. Let's get on. Let's get on with it. Dang
Okay,
it.
so this week we have numbers 490 through, is it 41?
481. Yeah.
Yes. So this week, 490, it's Linda Ronstadt, Heart Like a Wheel. 489, Phil Spector and various artists, Back to Mono, 1958 through 1969. 488, The Stooges with their self-titled album The Stooges. 487, Black Flag with their album Damaged. 486, John Mayer Continuum. 45, Richard and Linda Thompson, I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. 484, Lady Gaga, Born This Way. 483, Muddy Waters, The Anthology. 482, The Far Side, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. And 481, Belle and Sebastian, If You're Feeling Sinister.
Okay.
Okay. 490, Linda Ronstadt. I don't know if you were particularly talking about this album or if you were talking about Miss Bonnie last week, Bonnie Raitt with Nick of Time. But when I was when we were messaging about what we were listening to this week, I think that you classified some of this music as Texas Roadhouse music.
I did.
And I don't know if it was this album or
It
not.
was this album. On my
It
notes,
was
it says Texas Roadhouse, bro. I can't.
that's so funny because I think this was one of the best albums of the week.
You're serious?
I'm
No,
so
you're lying.
serious.
No, you're lying. You're
I'm
freaking no,
not.
you're fucking
I'm
lying, doll.
I'm
No
not
way.
lying.
No way.
I I'm not lying. But this lady was singing her ass off for the entire album. I
I'm in
know it sounds
shock. I
crazy. I know it sounds so absurd because I'm like, I hate that folk honky tonk music. But I was like, nah. She was doing it.
This is
She
so
was
way so
going.
I'm shocked.
Not to say that there's no skips. There's definitely skips on this. But as a overall piece of work, I think it's good in its genre. I actually genuinely think it's
Okay.
good. I saved two of the songs. It's like I liked it. I actually really liked it.
I'm like
Wait,
speechless.
let me see which two songs I
I'm so
saved.
interested in what you have to say. It's my notes. I'm saying it is pretty folksy. I'm an
Hmm.
indie folk girl. I do like those. I even like country. I even like dark country. You know, I have a pretty wide taste. But I don't know if maybe it's because I was listening it to all of it in one. Did you listen to it in all in one sitting?
I listened to it all in one sitting, and I actually put three songs. I put three songs on the playlist.
Oh my god. Yeah, I just felt like
I
there was
know.
too much country for me. A little bit too twangy, I think. I understand what you mean by it being good in its genre. I'm sure it's a great country album, but to my ears, it's a little bit too much for me. So since I pretty much, I don't want to say I checked out of it pretty early. I don't have as much to say about it, so I'm gonna leave it to you. I did think it's
Let
very
me
Texas Roadhouse music-y.
This also kind of sounds like that music in SpongeBob where they're like transitioning sometimes, if that makes sense.
It
Like
does make
Sandy,
sense.
like when it's like transitioning to them going to go visit Sandy.
Mhm.
Um, I think it also sounds like that too. Um, when will I be loved? I don't know. It's just like, when will I be loved? And I was like, sing that shit. I don't know. It just
I
sounds.
get what you
I
mean.
can't I can't describe it, but like but when but when like white artists are in their bag, like their cultural like white people bag, they snap. And it's just I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. Like it was interesting.
Was there
It's
anything
something
that I
I've also
liked
never
about it?
heard of. Like I've never heard of this lady before. And this is just not typically the genre of music I would also ever try to look up or be interested in either. So for me to actually like it was also something as well.
I don't have any songs to mention or anything. I respect it. Cause I actually, when I say I like some country, when I say I like country, I do like the twangies of the guitars stuff.
Hmm.
But again, I think when it got a little bit overwhelming for me.
I
I think it's
said,
just not my thing.
I think if I was in a setting that plays this music, I would like to hear these songs.
So Texas Roadhouse.
Yes. So if I was in Texas Roadhouse, I want her singing these
Okay,
songs.
I see. I get that.
That's so funny because I just like when you said it was Texas Roadhouse music, I hadn't even listened to it yet, but I
Yeah,
knew it was like country
country.
rock or like country music,
Hmm.
and then I listened to it and I was like, no, it's definitely Texas Roadhouse music, but it's nice Texas. Like I'm eating my bread with the cinnamon sugar butter, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm waiting for my rack of ribs to come out, and hey, me at the Roadhouse. Like that's how I was feeling, and I was like, all right. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. We don't have to stay on this too much longer because we're obviously at like two different.
Oh, I just have nothing else to say. I mean, not because
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that was Heart Like a Wheel.
Hmm.
Linda Ronstadt. Okay, so 489 is Phil Spector and various artists. Back to Mono, 1958 through 1969. Okay, so before this is a compilation album. It
Yes.
was 3 CDs.
Yes.
Each was
An
around
hour.
1 hour long. I could not find it on Tidal. I don't think it's on Spotify or Apple
It's not
Music,
on
so I had to
YouTube
listen.
Music either.
No, so you actually have to like go onto YouTube
Hmm.
and do it. I think I found it through like literally a Japanese person's
I was gonna
page
say there's
because
some sort of an Asian. There's an Asian thing. I think
yes,
we listened to the same thing. Yeah. And
yeah.
there's no way you can skip tracks.
No, you can't skip tracks. So
We listened to the
I
whole thing.
literally had to sit through 3 hours of this essentially. Actually, the first video, someone was gracious enough to put timestamps.
I
So for
missed
the
that.
yeah, so I went to the comments. Yeah, I went to the comments, and luckily for me, I was able to, abide by our 2 minute rule. But then once I was getting sick of it, which I was,
Hmm.
I skipped it. There was also whoever that woman is on that first video, there is one woman who said how each song made her feel. And one comment that particularly really stuck with me is I feel like Lisa Simpson in Millhouse. No, having a date with Millhouse when I listen to this song. And I'm like, why would any song make you feel like that?
It's just so specific, actually.
Because it's
Like you
so
said,
specific and so random. And I'm just like,
is that?
what
But
are you?
does that accurately evoke the same type? Like, if you think about it, though, does that make it? Do you feel like that?
I don't no, I don't feel like fictional yellow characters when I listen to certain music. No. If that's what you're asking me, the answer is no.
Then,
Um the answer is no.
I mean, I
But
can imagine feeling like you're at a diner on a date, a first date, as like a young person. Yes, but I guess Lisa Simpson
yes.
and Millhouse aspect is a little bit out there, just a tad.
And I think that was one of the things that she said. It was like, oh, I'm standing by the jukebox, and I like, I just have to pull it up because some of these things. The 11th song makes me feel like a mother who's given birth and is hugging, embracing her baby, kissing his forehead, touching his hands. 22nd song makes me feel as if I was a dancing woman, shaking my legs in a bar in Germany during the World War II as the soldiers whistle at me and praise me. This one's interesting. Seventh song makes me feel as if I were a boy called Stewie. I'm at a circus. I start dancing and yodeling. Everyone laughs at me, and I'm happy to entertain them, showing off my cartwheeling.
Hey, I, I'm not sure if I'm grateful for that type of it gives you a picture, I guess, of the song because I don't remember any of the songs. I'm gonna be real.
It,
But I can kind of it gives me a point in thing to look into, I guess, type of thing. I don't know. Um,
this is the Millhouse one. 16th song makes me feel as if I were Lisa Simpson dating Millhouse. I slowly fall in love with him. He wins me with a good heart and an accomplished personality.
people with these brains, we need them in this world. You know what I mean? We do need them for something.
Keep these people away from me. They do not need to be walking the streets with me because
Like
that keep them away from me and my
they
family.
serve
That
a they serve a purpose in the society. We need flowers and sunshine and butterflies and stuff. People who are like that because or otherwise they're just gonna be like me and Dom, and we're gonna be like,
true. That's
ugh.
also true.
So
They're
we
just
do
gonna be
need a
sitting
little
up.
bit. We do need a little bit of these people who are lightness. You all gotta stay away from Dom. I
That's
have
hey,
a
it's true.
quota. At certain specific times, I have like maybe like 30 minutes of patience, and I'm like, all right, bye bye. But nice little discovery on that, Dom.
Yeah, I the other 'cause, and that was for CD1. CD1, I think that was mainly more what the crystals that was on it.
Yeah,
Um some of the Ronettes were on it.
yeah,
Um a bunch of other girl groups.
a lot of girls.
Um yeah, the second CD was basically just all of the Ronettes, which
Ronettes.
we discussed last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third was kind of like again a mixture of like the Ronettes, more Motown, and the Crystals.
Yeah, the last CD was
Um,
already starting to get a little bit more rocky, which I kind of liked. A little bit
yeah,
more rock and roll.
this first CD felt so like a lot of the songs I was like, "Oh yeah, this is the era that we're in." Like you woman, you get married at 16, you have baby, you cook. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them were like, "I want to get married right now." And they say I'm too young to marry him. Yeah, cuz you're like 14.
Mm,
What do you mean like we're going to get married right now? Just a lot of marriage songs. I'm not against
mm,
marriage at all. But it just felt like it was so harped on. And I feel like I haven't really ever heard a lot of songs pertaining to marriage specifically.
mm-hmm.
A lot of songs about being in love, but not a lot of songs about the actual act of getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I found that interesting. There's one particular song on CD one, I think. Um, it's He Hit Me, It Felt Like a Kiss.
I know what you're talking about.
So,
Oh,
so trigger warning, domestic violence, abuse. I'm listening to this and a lot of these songs have like the same type of sound and vibe, like
yep.
doo 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 doo, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
doo
The
doo
50s
doo.
diner. Mhm.
Yeah, and that's just kind of how it is. So this song starting off like that typical like like type of thing, and it's like he hit me and it felt like a kiss. And I'm like, is she talking about him actually hitting her? And then it continues and it's a song by the Crystals and they're really talking about how she's actually getting beat up by her husband or her boyfriend or whoever it is, and it's okay because he beats me up because he loves me, or he beats me up and it's fine, but it's okay because I know that he loves me deep down.
Mm,
And I'm listening to these lyrics and I'm like, this feels odd, but it makes sense for the time, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, maybe weird
I
propaganda.
it's yes, it's like weird, like before they started, again, trigger warning, before they started to outlaw like marital rape and stuff, right? Like it's around this time where like you are the wife and he is the husband and you like just basically deal with everything that comes with marriage, and unfortunately, at some time and point, it might be he hits you, but it's okay because he still loves you. And it just felt weird. I was like, let me like look this up on Wikipedia because there's no way that this is what the song is about. I'm on Wikipedia, and that's exactly what the song is about. It's about actually one of the members of the Crystals who had this happen to her.
Mm.
So this song was really supposed to be an awareness to it, but they didn't actually play it too often because they said that it was like promoting domestic violence and making it
Sounds
seem
like it.
like
Yep.
yeah, it sound the way that it's portrayed and just the tone of the song and how happy and lovey-dovey it sounds, it makes it sound like this is normal and this is okay. It's not. We just want to make that very clear on this pod that that is not okay. But I just that was a high not a highlight but a standout to me because it was it was a lot.
Mhm.
Um I feel like why do I think that you know the song Rain on Me by Ashanti, right? It it is basically kind of a similar song about
Mhm.
domestic abuse and violence. But the way that this song is written and produced, it doesn't sound like it's glorifying it. It's
Yeah.
talking about like the pain of it. And I think Kelly Rowland also has a song like that as well. I don't know if it's called Dirty Laundry or not, but it's on one of her albums. I think it's post Destiny's Child, one of her solo albums.
Mhm.
And it also is talking about that, about being in a domestic violence relationship.
Mhm.
So I just find it so odd that it was like in this like jukebox esque
Mhm.
pace and the way it was sung. But anyway, um, overall, this compilation was way too long. I kind of
Yeah.
got bored.
Of course. Yeah. Same. So I have feelings on putting these compilations that they put on here. We had two compilations this week. It took me 2 days to get through this one, and then it took me 3 days to get through the Muddy Waters, which is later. And in a general sense, this is just my comments on putting it on the 500. I think these feel like they put it onto the 500 just because those people were influential in their genres and they needed to put a song on or they needed to get an album on. So what else like is great other than just putting this compilation on? Just put all their songs on. And that's why it's
Hmm.
kind of annoying. And so Phil Spector, I think he produced the Ronettes, right? So that in
Yeah.
week one, those songs were pretty much were copied onto that second thing because that was a big thing. He was pretty influential. I mean, I did look him up because I was like, oh
Dude, he
well,
murdered someone.
I know. Wait, Dom.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to talk about the first good stuff first. Let me just
Okay,
talk about
sorry.
because dude was actually pretty influential in the pop scene.
Yes.
So like Ronettes, like there's actually quite a few songs on these CDs that I picked out that I not only did I recognize, but I can hear the influence of it over
Mhm.
into later pop stuff. So I have like I put Pretty Little Angel Eyes. I suspect is like an important song in music generally because I hear it everywhere. That type of thing. And the thing is with
Mhm.
these songs, Dom, like what Dom said, you get sick of it because it's like the same beat. It's like bum 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 bum. It's every
Yeah.
single song throughout. And I get it because I guess at that time maybe there's no internet. So whatever's on the radio, whatever's working, whatever's popular is going to keep on getting imitated. It's just listening to it over and over again is a lot. He also, I forgot, I was kind of reading about it on Wikipedia what he did. It's something called the Wall of Sound. Something about getting all these music like productions out that I don't know, like to be able to hear it better or something. And I saw that that actually is used and influenced in the genre shoegaze. Do you know what shoegaze is, Dom?
No, what
I
is
feel
that?
like you know what shoegaze is. Do you know Cherry Glazer? Is that a
No.
okay? Okay, never mind. Is Beach
Well,
House shoegaze? I think Beach House is shoegaze, and you know Beach House.
I do know Beach House.
Hold on, give
And
me one second.
I know Beach House only because
Yeah,
The
Beach House is
Weeknd.
shoegaze. Yeah, so
Oh,
that type of music was influenced by Phil Spector, which is kind of weird because you wouldn't like see that, but I guess just the instrumentation and the pop elements of it very interesting just for me to look at that and like, okay, so this guy was an important guy. But yes, as
mhm.
Dom said, he is a murderer. And I'm just like, I can't believe they just like are okay. I don't want to say they're okay with this, but damn. Like he's straight up
I
convicted murderer.
I just
Convicted.
feel like it's actually kind of making me scared for the rest of this list because if you could have like we just listened to a murderer's album.
3 hours of it.
3 hours of mind you, he wasn't a murderer then. He was a murderer in the 2000s. And it's funny because my friend at work, because I told him that we were doing this. He was looking at the list. He's like, "Yeah, Phil Spector." He's like, "Isn't that the guy that murdered that lady?" I said, "What?" And then he pulled it up. He's like, "Yeah, this guy." And it's a picture of Phil Spector, like completely disheveled, like after a bunch of drugs, like mental health breakdowns and everything. And yeah, I think he's serving a really hefty sentence. I don't think it's life, but I think he's gonna be in there until is he dead? Actually,
I
do
think
we
he's
even know?
dead. I
Is
feel
he
like he's
dead? I
dead.
don't know.
Not to be
Because
laughing. I'm sorry if I'm laughing,
yeah,
guys, but I think he might be dead.
yeah.
He died when he was 81. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, didn't he
but
also beat the lady from Ronettes, Ronnie Bennett? I think he abused her
yes,
as well. So I don't
yes.
like that. I made me
That's why, in a way, I'm like, just because the music is good, does does that mean it should be on the list? Because I feel like luckily I don't think that there are any R. Kelly albums on here, but
I don't think
that
so.
that just wouldn't be an album that I listen to. I like me and you are not listening to it. We're not reviewing it. I will literally be like, it's shit because he's a pedophile. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I don't care if it was like the
It
greatest
just
work of all
taints
time.
everything on it taints
It
everything
it
on it.
takes almost everything on it. So, I had no idea who Phil Spector even was before this, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then to find out that he is an abusive murderer, but he still made the list, it's kind of like, so what are the criteria here to make the
Nah,
list?
which is like another argument or discussion to have. A lot of people talk about separating artistry and like legacy
Yeah.
stuff. Obviously we talk about Kanye and it's like I did like Kanye when he was during college dropout era. I mean all the way until he became like he lost it.
A
Like I
Nazi.
did like him. I did like his stuff. It's Kanye. He's good. But it's hard to like, I don't know. Obviously I don't support what he
But
does
you
no
know what's
more.
so funny? There are 5 Kanye albums on this list.
Is there 5?
He's the most named artist on this list.
Kanye's good. He hasn't murdered
He's hit.
anyone
He
yet.
listen. He's all right.
We're hoping that he never
We're
murders
hoping
anyone.
not ever, but he's him musically,
Yeah. And well, Kanye isn't a criminal.
intellectually and morally. No,
Yeah.
but I okay. What I will say is everything the life of Pablo backwards.
Mm.
Yes, we're not going to discuss the life of Pablo forward, but mind you, we're jumping ahead because we're going to get to the Kanye albums.
Yeah.
But this is all just to say that
I'm not
it
sure
doesn't
if
matter what it
this
doesn't matter what you did. You might still end up on this list.
don't Dom no, we're not don't do anything, guys. Don't do
No,
anything.
I'm not telling them to do anything. I'm just saying that even if you did something, you might still be
You
able to
might still
be
get on.
Rolling Stone 500 greatest albums of
I
all
suppose
time.
if you're that influential, because like I said, from what I read, he was pretty influential in pop. And I'm gonna assume and I presume all of these songs that were on these CDs dominated the radio at the
Yeah,
time.
at the time.
I'm sure that's what happened. So yeah, I guess it makes sense for people to put it on. I don't know though. It is. I didn't actually know about the conviction stuff until I finished the things. So after
Same.
that, I was like, "Huh." All these little wholesome lyrics, all these little cute, he like looked into my eyes and kissed me. I'm just like, you're a bad person. It's just like
Yeah,
in
it's
my
like
thing.
mm,
Yeah. But
I
did I like it? It's okay. I like the Ronettes, and then, like I said, later in the third CD, it started getting more rock and roll. I like that better. It was just too much of the same genre. It just all sounded the same. Only
yeah,
standout song that I put was Spanish Harlem, Ben
mm,
E. King. I think that was a song that they played a lot at fiestas growing up. So one of those things where I think he's gonna be around, like oldies. If there's an oldie, he's gonna be around like forever.
yeah,
But I don't know Phil King, or what's his name? Phil Spector? Phil
Spectre.
King. Phil Spector.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'll know the song. I'm not gonna know him. It's better for us to know the song than just know him at this point, now that we know that he's a fucking murderer. So not too much else to say on that. I
Nope.
not super strong feelings on the songs itself, other than I hate compilations.
Yeah,
Like
no more
no more
compilation
compilations.
albums,
No more
guys.
compilations, please, guys. Let's do that. Going forward, let's not do that, guys.
No more
I
compilation
know y'all are
albums.
gonna update this again, Rolling Stone. Do not do that. Just pick one.
Pick one of the albums because the compilations is way too much.
Yeah.
So, next album is 488, The Stooges, self-titled album, The Stooges. I don't have anything to say about this.
You don't hate it?
I don't hate it, but I'll never listen to it again.
Understood.
It's just boring.
Understood. Okay. Understood.
That's all I have to say for this. You can speak because I don't have anything else to say about it.
Okay, as y'all know, I like punk and I like rock, and obviously I think most people know who are into those genres know that the Stooges were arguably the first punk rock band, one of them at least. I know that most people credit them as such because most of the punk rock bands like they credit them as their influences. And actually one of my favorite all-time songs is on this album, the I Want to Be Your Dog song. That's actually one of my favorite songs. Like I know. It's
I skipped that
You
after the
skipped that
two
one?
minutes. I skipped it after the two
That's one
minutes.
of my favorite songs. One of the all-times for me. Um and that was one of the first songs I heard from them, and that's what got me going into it, like diving deeper. I've never listened to this album full and throughout, just because I think the Stooges' later albums were more my style. The songs in this album weren't as. I think I Want to Be My Dog was their best one. No Fun was good, but like it wasn't a lot. And there was one song, I think what was that Hell song? The one where it's 10 minutes of just don't, don't. You know what I'm
Bro,
talking about? That was
yes.
hard to listen to. I did
That
not
was
like that.
very hard to listen to.
I was waiting for something to happen. That's one of those songs I was waiting for something to happen and nothing happened. And he kept on saying, I want to be your dog. And it's like, that's one of those things where I try to think about them in the studio doing their stuff. And they're definitely all high and toasted. And they're all jamming. And they're just doing shit and wasting everyone's time. I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. I think maybe if I were stoned, I would not mind it as much, but I was very sober and I was at the gym and it was just making me scared because I was by myself. That song in particular I did not like, but yeah, like I Want to Be Your Dog just obviously brings back some memories. Definitely I was younger and it was a little bit the sounds are younger even though it's like
Mhm.
70s. It's a little bit, I don't say more juvenile, but punk is still a little bit more on the younger type of side of
Mhm.
taste. So, yeah, I'm important album to me. I understand it's an important album for punk rock. I think that Stooges have better albums out there. They have better songs. I think I really only like two songs from it. So, yep.
Two more than I did. Um,
That's fair. You have Miss Linda and
yes, I
I have
dang.
Iggy.
Miss Linda was doing her thing,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, you know what's actually funny? When I was listening to this, like cuz this comes right after Phil Spector, right? And if
Mhm.
you think about it, this is kind of the same time frames, right? 69 and then the Stooges around that time, like right after that. Could you
Mhm.
imagine being a boomer or whatever old adult you are, you grow up listening to Phil Spector, and then it's like, bam, I want to be your dog. And you're like, the children are listening to devil music. I get where they're coming from now because
Yo,
that flip is insane.
that's literally my parents when I would talk to them and they said, "Yeah, my parents were listening to like Anita Baker, like Diana Ross, like my parents' parents were listening to that or even like my mom's parents, because they're immigrants, like grandpa's from Guyana and my grandma's from Jamaica, they're listening to older like
Mhm.
Jamaican music, like older reggae. And then you have like Run DMC coming out, and they're like, "What the fuck is this music?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?" Like KRS-One, like Slick Rick, like they're like, "This is," mind you, it's like hip
Garbage.
hop, a hippie, hippie, hip hop, like it's they're not even saying anything crazy. It's just a deviation from what they were typically listening to. I
Yeah.
feel like people sound that way now because, mind you, I'm the adult that's like, nah, the kids are all right because I'm listening to it. Like their parents like, what the fuck is a yeet? And I'm like, I love him. I love Yeet's music. Like I actually thoroughly enjoy it. But there are definitely people like, no, this is not the music that I listen to. This isn't Drake. Mind you, I have a lot of comments about him. But anyway,
Yeah, no, I just think it was so funny because like, I think I listened to the Stooges right after I listened to the last CD, and it was just such a drastic flip. And I don't when did the
what
Stooges come
year
out?
was it?
64. So
So
see,
it says 69, and then the
69.
Phil Spector album was also 69 as well, like
Yeah, so
1958
it's
through
a
1969.
yeah, that's a bit. I wonder if I don't know if both were on the radio at the same time, but if I was a
Hmm.
parent, I would be very. I I get why they thought this was devil music because it kind of does sound like it a little bit, especially that hell one. Like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of like punk rock and also like kind of the screams, because there were screaming on some of the Stooges. There's sometimes where a scream is well placed and it's correct. There are times where it's not well placed.
Which is interesting because the next album is like a true punk album.
Yeah.
Like, so 487 Black Flag Damaged. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. I like thoroughly enjoyed
I
this.
did not like this. I thought this was like suicide.
Oh no, this was way better than
It was
Suicide.
better, but I
Like this is I think like the quintessential version of what punk is. Like anti-authority, anti-police, like it's a cob for me every day. I live in New York City. NYPD is basically like the third biggest army in the world. Like I live in a police state, right? So
mhm.
hearing, I think, because I put it on the playlist, I put three of their songs on the playlist. So I put Six Pack, Thirsty and Miserable, and Police Story. Police Story, I like really enjoyed because it's basically a fuck the cops song. And
Mhm.
honestly, fuck the cops. So I really enjoyed it. It's just something about it having like that anarchist energy,
Mhm.
because I think I explained in the last episode, I've kind of been more into like punk, like eclectic, like guitar music, but I've only really gotten what I feel like people who actually are like real rockers and listen to punk music would consider a watered down version, like a
Mhm.
palatable version of it, through when I'm listening to Playboy Cardi.
Mhm.
And his studio versions don't really give you as much as the live versions do, but his most recent Rolling Loud set, he has like dudes on the stage, like they're bald, like tattoos on their face, tattoos on their arms, like the dudes with like the spiked hair, and they're just like moshing, kicking shit, destroying the stage set. Like the
Mhm.
guitarist is going ham, like the bass, like everyone is just losing their mind on the stage. And there feels something so freeing about listening to music like this, because I feel like a lot of times we're supposed to, be in our place in society and like not scream and not say fuck you and not do all these things. But this music is the complete, it's just completely different from that. And yeah, the first song I listened to, I was like, yep, I know I'm gonna like this. And I liked it a lot, actually. I found the title Thirsty and Miserable so funny because I was like, that sounded like me in law
Mm.
school, thirsty and miserable, for the most part. Um, but reading the little, description underneath it, they said that it wasn't even, they like, the record company wouldn't even release it because they said that it was so like anti-parent and so hardcore that parents were afraid if their kids listened to it, they would just like fuck shit up. So that made me like it even more.
Yeah, I was gonna. Okay, so I think I've had this theme throughout this project where I'm saying I don't mind certain elements of things, but when it's too chaotic, it gives me like a little bit of anxiety. It makes me a little bit crazy. And I'm seeing that I mean, I knew this about you, that you love chaos. Like I knew that. I just didn't realize it would manifest this way. Um because and you talking about how we were all supposed to be in our place in society and I'm like, yes, we should be. We should like do everything with purpose and intent. Don't waste people's time. Let's get this done. I have things to do. You got things to do. Like, do you actually want to do this? Commit. So I think it's funny. I mean, it's very interesting that you did like this. I did like the first half. I think of the album.
No,
I
the
was
first
good.
half is good.
Yeah, I was good with the first half. I think getting into the second half, there was I don't remember the songs off the top of my head, but there was ones where they started like screaming and gagging that I was
Yeah.
like, what just happened? Like what happened? I missed the switch or something, and I don't appreciate that too much. Like I don't like screaming. I can argue is can be used in music, but gagging is weird to me. Like in a album, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think sounds outside of screaming, like when people are like moaning on songs.
Yeah, unless the moaning is on key, maybe
No. And that's
it's a little
when
awkward.
we get to a Janet Jackson album, I'm gonna have things to say about that. Because that lady's just like, yeah, baby. Like, all right.
It does
All
make
right,
me feel
man.
like I feel a little bit uncomfortable, I guess, in terms of like, moaning and stuff. And in the
Yeah.
same way, I think gagging makes me uncomfortable. I just feel like that's an internal process that's personal to you that I should not be a
You
part
should
of.
I should not be
Just a little
listening
bit.
to you gagging. And it's
Yeah.
true. I
But yes,
agree.
I see what you mean about the punk rock. I can see why it's in like why it really hits the genre. I think it's a little bit more hardcore
It
than
is, I
it
think.
is than punk that I listen or because the punk that I listen to is obviously older. Like, beginnings of it, maybe a little bit lighter. They're starting to get into it, but they're not I don't think there's any song on there where I said, yeah, I'll listen to it again. I'm glad I listened to it though, so I can kind of get more context for punk rock. I feel like I've talked about punk rock a lot. I'm really not like an expert in it. I was just a little fan when I was in, you know, when I was going through it. You know what I mean? So of course I listened to the Stooges and the Ramones and stuff like that. But I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I
Mm.
guess it's just because I've been like, again, just more interested in, I guess, in the more like mysterious, like punky side.
Mm.
If I had two healthy knees and I wasn't so little, I would be in the mosh pits at like certain concerts. Like I want to mosh so bad, but I know it's not good for my physical health to mosh. So that's why I really like am drawn to music like this for some
That's
reason. I don't know
yeah.
what it is.
I'm shocked,
I remember what is it?
especially because this is like white
This is
boy
real punk.
stuff. It's real white
Yes.
shit, and I'm like, wow, dog,
Yeah. No, like this is like real
surprised.
punk. This makes me look at like I said, like the Playboy Cardi stuff, like Whole Lotta Red, and be
Mm.
like, this actually isn't as like violent and like gritty and like
Mm.
guitar heavily influenced as it can get. Like it can get more. And
Mhm.
because it can get more, I'm like, oh wow, like I want to explore that a little bit more. And I kind of want to see like when black artists lean into it, because even recently, like Little Uzi Vert did that.
Mhm.
Um he has a song CS, which is a cover of Chop Suey. Um and that's like I think more of like a rock, like punk song. And he had, oh man, what's that other song? It's like a Japanese like punk band. But either way, he has a lot of punk and rock and also kind of like screamo inspired songs on the album. But I watched this rocker who is like into that type of music reviewing it, and he's like, it's they take the elements, but they don't commit to it fully. They still make it, at least try to make it as palatable as they can to their
Mhm.
audience. And most of the time their audience is people of color sometimes. Unless you're Travis Scott and your audience is like white people and Latinos. And to be honest. And that is like they make jokes all the time. Like his, you know, like audience is like not black people at all. Like he's in
Mm.
the crowd, he's singing his songs, he says the N-word, the whole crowd says it. You look around the crowd, there's like five black people, and I'm like one of them. And but he's like, they just need to take it that like really commit to it. Like
I
commit
s-
to being punk. Like truly commit to it, and they're like, it would be an amazing piece of work. But anyway, I fucked with it. I also am very like fuck the system. Oh, Emily told me I'm not allowed to say certain things on this podcast.
They're gonna be like Emily's controlling her. No,
Yeah, like
I'm
she's
not.
just
It depends on
controlling
what you're gonna
the
say.
media, the controlling the media. But I am also not overthrowing, but challenging. I'll say that. Challenging the establishment for what it is.
I
So
mean,
I
you can
think
say
that this
that. Don't
I
be.
think
Yeah,
that this
yeah.
would I think this is good music for that type of thing.
I can see it. I can see why. It's still just shocking to me. I thought musically you wouldn't be into this, but
No, I feel like I am though, because like I said, just
guitar and
with the
stuff.
black artists that do dabble in it, it's
Mm-hmm.
like they're like right there. So this kind of brought me over
Closer. I see
to
what
it
you mean.
fully.
Ah.
It's kind of like a little like a little treat, like a little like I like breadcrumbed into it a little.
Mm. They got
And
you.
now
Just kidding.
yeah, now and now I'm like finally here for the meal. So
No, that's
thank
cool.
you. Thank you, Black Flag. Appreciate that. I don't know where I hope you guys aren't racist, but thank you. Okay, so 486, we have John Mayer Continuum.
Would you like to start?
So this is my first John Mayer album ever. I kind of don't get the hype, but
Hmm.
maybe it's just because this isn't the John Mayer album, is it?
This is like the John Mayer. I would say it is.
Oh,
I
well,
think. Let me see. Let me
so,
see.
sorry to that man. He could be walking down the street and I wouldn't know a thing because I don't even know what he looks like. I know who I've heard his name before, obviously. Like I've heard
Yeah.
of John Mayer before. Wait, why did I think he was like an older artist? This album's from 2006.
Yes. I remember when it came out. Not to age me, but I remember when it came out.
I thought he was like a 90s artist for some
Well,
reason.
he's like late 90s, early 2000s. I think his first song came out in the 2000s, I think. Nothing, what I
Oh.
forgot what it's called. Yeah, no, this is the John Mayer album.
Wow, I am sorry, John Mayer. I don't get it. I he sounds. I like his tone. I like the way he sings. If I had to rank it for the white men that I think that sing well, he would be up there. I'm also biased though because I actually really love Justin Timberlake,
Hmm.
and a lot of people say he can't sing.
Justin
Well, they can't.
Timberlake.
They say
I
he can't
mean,
sing well. He's got hits. Sorry. I know black people want us to hate him, but I'm not going to. That man's got hits. I like Justin Timberlake. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, Mr. Mayer. I don't get it. The one song that I liked called I Don't Trust Myself. It was like after that song, I was like, oh, this is really boring. Which like it kind of like edged me in a way because I was like, ooh, this is gonna be good. And
Mhm.
then it wasn't good for like the rest of it. It was
Mhm.
average. It was like I don't know, it's like One Tree Hill music. I don't want to listen to this.
I'm in the middle of my One Tree Hill rewatch. Actually, that's so
Yeah,
funny to me.
like that's just what it that's I don't know. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about this. Sorry, John Mayer.
I'm trying to look up. So, like, I'm a little biased because actually, this is I don't want to say it's not an important album to me, but it's kind of the songs have been around me a lot that they've kind of served as I don't want to say a soundtrack, but they're like meaningful to me, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I've never listened to this album in a sitting in a full throughout. I actually didn't even know all these songs were on the same album together. But like I've heard pieces always. So, Waiting on the World to Change was a very popular song back in the day. I don't know, dumb. I mean it was on 102.7. It's one of those things. I don't know. Kids
Yeah,
FM.
that I think this was also during a time where I didn't have the ability to listen
Yeah.
to my own music yet, and I was still listening to whatever my parents were playing. And
Yeah.
best believe my dad was not turning on no goddamn John Mayer.
Yeah.
Like
Which is so
that was
funny
happening.
because when John Mayer's very first song came out, I forgot what it's called. It starts with an N. Um My dad heard it on the radio. He's like, "I like this song," and he went and found out who it was, and it's John Mayer, and he made sure to like go and like look at it and stuff. What was his first song? Let me see. It was called "No Such Thing." My dad really liked that song, and since he played it so much, I also kind of liked John Mayer for a hot minute. Um, but yeah, like I never really listened to all of them filter. I didn't know they were all together, and I realized like, oh, a lot of like songs that I really like are on this album. But yeah, slow dancing I really like. Dreaming with a Broken Heart. I think I like Dreaming with a Broken Heart because do you remember the show So You Think You Could Dance?
Yeah.
They
Hmm.
did a
I used to
lot
watch
of
it with my mom all the time.
yeah, they did a good amount of dances to John Mayer songs because it's like a slow rock
Mm.
contemporary type of pieces. So Waiting on the World to Change, I remember that was a group number. I really remember that one like very well. I remember Dreaming with a Broken Heart. I think I was going through something when I heard that, so that obviously I was like, oh, me too. Like I'm like only like 13. I'm like, oh, my heart
Yeah.
is broken. Yeah, I was very young when when all that stuff happened. But I can see why Dom didn't like it. It could be boring. I can see why things are a little bit slow rock. It's you know it's hard because John Mayer's a pretty good like guitarist too. Like he writes his stuff.
Oh,
Like it's it's
I
good
wouldn't
to
have known.
me. Yeah, like he writes his own stuff. I know that he as a person not as bad as Phil Spector, but I know he's an asshole. One of the reasons why I don't like
Oh.
yeah, he's like a dickhead. Like I've never heard a good story about him. So I don't
Hmm.
because I think it's because actually
Well,
when he came up
I don't feel bad saying that I didn't like this then.
yeah, no,
Fuck
when
you.
he came up, he was critically acclaimed when he first came up. So obviously big ego. Not the Justin Bieber type of critically acclaimed because Justin Bieber became just popular. John Mayer was like, "Oh wow, this musician, this artiste," and because of that, I
Yeah.
think he almost became a male diva. So I know he was a dickhead to a lot of his girlfriends. I know Taylor Swift writes songs about him and stuff because he's a
Wait,
dick.
this is who she dated John. Why do I literally think that this man is like 50 something years old? What
Yes,
the
this
fuck? He
well,
dated Taylor Swift?
he is a lot older than her. I think he was with her when she was like 19. That was the issue, was that he was a lot older than her. He took This is the girl she Dear John.
How?
That's what is
Wait,
him.
that's what this is
That's him.
about?
That's him. Yeah. He was a very influential man, very powerful man, especially with, in his genre. So, yeah,
Wow.
the age gap between them was 12 years. So she was like 19, he was 32. Yeah, it was wrong, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah. Wow. Damn. The lives you've lived, Miss Tay. I didn't know any of this. This is how much I stay out of white people's business because I didn't know any of that. I didn't
yeah,
know any
yeah.
of this.
That
Wow.
was him. I mean, separated if we were gonna try and separate the music from him, like yes, I do like this album quite a bit. It's actually my favorite one of this. That I Not my favorite one. It's one of my top ones, but this is
Yeah.
definitely a album that I would put on vinyl in the background. Not for cleaning, probably just for like reading or chilling.
Hmm.
Just like trying to get work done. Definitely one of those. Um yeah,
Hmm.
decent for me. I understand why Dom doesn't like it. There is no chaos in it. Everything's controlled. I like that. So it's just becoming like a weird therapy session for me.
I
Like,
I, I
like
guess
wow,
that's
Emmeline, you are a control freak.
yeah.
There is something wrong with you. I think I need
I got
therapy.
and then there's me that's like chaos. But I guess that makes sense. I'm a fire sign, so maybe that's why I like the rage. I'm a double fire sign.
Is
So
water supposed to be what is that?
tranquil. It's supposed to be like,
Oh yes, everybody, let's just sit down in this box.
yeah. But then
Okay.
water can
It's
have like
emotional though, I know.
it's yeah, it's emotional. Water can have its moments where it's like, high tide and everything. But for the most part, water it's supposed to be also supposed to be like a cleansing and refreshing form, like symbolism
Mm,
wise. Like when you have like water, it like washes away things and like start anew, like
mm.
cleansing. And
Yeah,
there's
maybe
fire,
that's
like
Black
like
flag! Give me
and that's
Continuum.
me.
Slow dancing in a bird.
No,
Like
it's actually funny to hear this album after the Black Flag album.
that's probably part of the reason where you're just like, wow, I'm bored. You know?
I was so bored. I listened to this going to work, and
Oh.
I listened to this going to work, and when I got upstairs into my office, and I was just listening to it. And I mean, I guess it is good, like getting my work done, because I got my work done, but it was boring.
You
I
want
don't
to
know.
seek out. Yeah, I mean obviously I have the songs that I mentioned on my phone already because there are times, like if there are times where I'm like when I was going through stuff, you just want to listen to it and cry. Maybe that's the water sign in me also. But
Yeah.
I mean, I get why it's on the 500 for me. I knew that a John Mayer's album had to be on. Like he's just so loved amongst music
Mhm.
circles that I wouldn't fathom him not being on at some point somewhere. I don't know any of his latest stuff. I haven't followed him ever since this stuff after this album. I don't know what his latest stuff sounds like at all. But this album, I know is John Mayer. So yeah.
Well, all right, Mr. Mayor.